Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Bible's Beautiful Beginnings. So, you may be wondering why I wanted to start this podcast, and I think it's because I've seen Jesus and he spoke to me many times, like he always speaks to you guys, and there was just something in my heart telling me that I've been wanting to do this for a while and that I should do this. So I thought, why not give it a shot? So that's what I'm doing. This will also be on YouTube, but this is mainly going on Spotify. So if you're here from Spotify, please comment. And if you're here from YouTube, please comment down below because I want to see where you guys are coming from. And if you heard of this from TikTok, comment TikTok. Okay, this first video is just gonna be about my testimony, and I feel like it's not that long of a story, but I can make it very long. So you're gonna have to stick in for the ride, and everybody's testimony is different, so if your testimony is not like mine, don't think that Jesus doesn't love you, because he loves you so much. I'm going to go into a detail with that in another episode, but let's just get into it. So, a few years before any of this happened, well, since I was born, I guess, I was always a Christian. I go to church every Sunday and every Wednesday, and I started reading the Bible in 4th grade. Now, I wasn't religiously reading the Bible like I do now, but I was in a Bible study and they taught us some things about the Bible, so I just kind of looked to that, and I didn't really think anything of the Bible until then. In the beginning of 2024, I was at Adoration, and my friend's like, look at the Eucharist, it's bleeding. I look at the Eucharist, and it was bleeding. It looked like a bullet has went through it. And other people I was talking to after Adoration, they're like, oh, I didn't see that. I'm like, that's really weird. How could only a few of us see this? But I remember when I saw it go past us, I looked in the back of the church and I saw St. Michael. And I didn't know what St. Michael was doing there because honestly, I wasn't a big believer. I did not think that Jesus was real because I thought if he was real, then I would have to see him. And I knew at that moment that that wasn't true, and that was never gonna be true. So I believed in him a little more, but not to the point of where I am now. And when I saw St. Michael and that he's the archangel and he's the saint of protection, so I was like, what does this mean? What does this mean? Like, there has to be meaning behind this, because I can't just see St. Michael and it all to be normal, right? Well, 2 weeks later, I was at a wrestling meet because I did wrestling. I am not doing it anymore, but I did do wrestling, and I love that sport. I'm no shame in that sport. Even though I quit it, I still love that sport. This is not the reason why I quit. I could go into detail for another time, but that's not happening. So, when I was in wrestling and I was at a meet, I was like, how have I not got injured like badly? Because I sprained my pinky at a practice from doing a back roll, but like I didn't really get hurt. And like there was some things that were like that hurt a little bit, but like didn't hurt. And I knew it was St. Michael protecting me, and he's always gonna be there protecting me no matter what. Later on in June the 28th of June, I went to a Christian camp called CYC in Damascus, Ohio. I cannot stress this enough. That camp is so good. It is so good. If you've never heard of Damascus or CYC Catholic Youth Summer Camp, I don't know why I'm slipping at my words today, but if you've never heard of those, I recommend looking it up because it's a camp from the ages from 6th grade to 12th grade, and you have adoration every day. You learn about God. You do fun activities. It's not like you're just going to church every day, which you do go to church every day, but like you don't just go to church. Like there's zip line, there's the big swing, there's rock climbing, there's a bunch of different activities like sacred art. That one's really fun. I recommend that one. We made incense, but it was really fun. So I went to that camp, and I'm like, oh, my brother and my sister have had really good experiences here. You know, I really hope they have a good experience because I still don't know where I'm standing in my faith. And I did have a great experience. So the first few days, I was just kind of getting used to it. Like, I was a little homesick, cried the first night, I'm not gonna lie about that. And on the Thursday that I was there, I went to adoration, and our whole group prayed over us. And I remember I asked my counselor, her name was Tina. If Tina will ever watch this, hi Tina, I love you, I miss you. Anyways, Tina and I forget her name, but there was this other girl, and they prayed for me, and I asked them to pray for me about wanting to see God because I've never seen Jesus and I've never seen Mary, and I wanted to see him so bad. But that wasn't the original thing that I was going to ask for. The original thing was the gift of tongues, but I knew if I asked for Jesus, to see Jesus, that I would see Jesus because this place is magical. Like, I've seen so many good experiences the nights before this, so I knew there had to be something for me. And after they got done praying over me, we stood up. Oh, I stood up, and I looked into the monstrance, and there he was. He was in the Eucharist in the monstrance, like that circle right there. His face was there, and I remember him so well. He had the kindest eyes, most green eyes, and if you've ever seen the Prince of Peace painting, that's exactly what he looks like. Like, when I saw that picture for the very first time, like, that's what he looks like. And I just got done reading a book that mentioned Prince of Peace, and it was about a 3-year-old going to heaven, and it was so true. It was so true. And it was so inspiring, too. I recommend reading that book. It's a really good book. Anyways, I saw Jesus in the monstrance, and I look up to the top of the tent. Sorry, I'm really tired because I'm filming this at night, but I look up to the top of the tent because I was crying and I just didn't want anybody to see my tears, but some of the people did and they gave me hugs. But I look up and I saw Mary and like the shadow of the cross, because there was a crucifix and the shadow of it was like up on the ceiling, and she was kneeling down and praying to the cross, to Jesus. And it was so powerful. Then at the end of adoration, this girl walks up and talks, and I could see Mary behind her, like talking through her, and someone else had saw this like before that week, and I'm like, they weren't lying about that, because I kind of thought they were lying. But they weren't. Sorry guys, I'm really, really tired. But I was like, wow. This is what the Lord has created. This is how great He is. That He can show Himself to multiple different people, and He can show His mother to people. That's just amazing to me. And after adoration, we had this little bonfire thing. And before the bonfire, we had a thing called small group, which if you go to Damascus or CYC, you'll know what that is. But we were talking in small group of what we experienced this week, and I was talking about that night. Well, that night, yeah. And I just like look up to the stars, and I'm like, wow, these are so beautiful. And I could hear a voice in my head say, these are all my sons and daughters. These are all the saints up in the stars. Those stars are each and every single one of you, and every person that has walked on the earth and that's not on the earth no longer have became a star. And I'm like, wow, God's creation is so good. It is so beautiful. Because He created you in His image, and He created every single person on this earth in His image. And He also created the earth for you. So to me that was very, very special to me. And I remember coming home and like telling my parents this, and they were kind of shocked, but very happy that I saw Him. And sometimes now I read the Bible religiously, and sometimes now I don't, and I think that's something I should work on. So if you're like me and you don't read the Bible often, or you're also like me where you do read the Bible often, just depends on the day, get into the habit of reading the Bible every day. I have this Bible study that I love called Walk with Jesus, and it's such a good Bible study. I recommend it. It says it's for women, but I think you could use it too if you were a male or anything. Literally, I love it so much. It gives you a gospel, what it's about, like different readings from a gospel. And the gospels, like there's one for every single day except Sunday. This Sunday you just reflect on it. So you get that. And then there's what the study's about that week, a prayer, reflections, and some questions, and then how it can apply to your life, and then a recap on the week. And then at the very bottom, there is a verse from the week that is very important. So the first week, I'm on the second week. The first week though, it talks about before Jesus was born, and how Gabriel came to Mary and Elizabeth. And that one's a really good one because I got it on Christmas. So that it talked about that, and now this week was his birth. It was really cool. It was just a week off, but that's okay. It's not like the author knew that. But I recommend like getting a Bible study to help you out. It really does help. Another reason I decided to do this podcast was because my friend told me that I do a really good job of breaking down verses. So, for example, Ecclesiastes 3:1-8, and I'll read it to you because I have it out in my Bible right now. It says, "For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven, A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. So whenever someone tells me that they don't feel like they should go on with life anymore, if you get what I mean by saying that, I tell them this Bible verse and I'm like, it's not your time. God knows when your timing is, and right now it's not. Just wait for Him to come along and do it for you. You don't want to jump in His plan, because His plan is so good and it's so true that you should just listen to His plan and know what is right and know what is wrong and know if the devil is saying it or if God's saying it. I know there's a very fine line of hearing if God can say it or if the devil can say it, but God sounds just like your voice. The devil can too, but like if you read, I think it was Matthew 5-7, someone told me once that, hold on, let me just check. Sorry, I'm tearing up because I have been yawning. But yeah, it goes through lust, divorce, and like a bunch of stuff like that. So I recommend reading those, even though I haven't yet. But I recommend reading those because I bet they are really good, and I bet they can tell you if the devil is saying that or if God's saying that. Anyways, I really hope you liked listening to this episode, and if you did, please tell me what your favorite part was and what I should improve on for next time, because this is my first episode and my first ever podcast. So thank you for listening. Have a great day. Love you guys, and Jesus loves you too.